Everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today, I have a special treat for you all. I know you guys have loved this series, and I haven't done one in a while, but at long last, it's time for another Dungeons & Dragons class description. Today, from the Player's Handbook 2, we are going to be talking about the Duskblade. Now, the Duskblade is an interesting class. It's actually one of the more overpowered classes in the game. It's a strange mix between arcane and melee. Yeah, it's really about melee combat and arcane magic. There's a lot of different things with this class. First of all, it has a good base attack bonus. So you're looking at, in terms of just that, they're as good as a fighter. Now, they don't get all the feats that the fighter does, which those had so many things for their physical combat. So they're not going to be as good as a fighter because of that. But, I mean, they have the same base attack bonus, so they got that going for them. In terms of saves, well, as you could expect, good fortitude and good will. Bad reflex. Makes sense. Yeah. So, what else do we have with this class? Well, it's a very interesting one, because they're actually pretty dang good as fighters, and they're pretty dang good as mages too, which is really interesting. I've never played one, but I actually played alongside one. I was playing in the game. I wasn't DMing this time, and one of my teammates actually was a Duskblade. Quite a potent character. I mean, just really powerful. I was playing something of a dual class at the time, so I was doing something similar. But yeah. So what do these guys get? Well, one, they can wear armor while using arcane spells. They can go up to medium armor and use up to a heavy shield eventually. And with the right feat, they can actually wear heavy armor. So that's pretty cool. Or you can just go with mithril and call it good. Also, they eventually get the feat combat casting. Makes sense. They also have arcane Oddment, which basically lets them cast a couple of spell-like abilities per day, some basic stuff. They get arcane channeling, so this will basically let them cast spells into their sword. Initially, I think it's a standard action, and then later they can do it more quickly. Then they can quick cast spells. They can gain. Basically, they can make it so that they can break through. What is it? Spell resistance more easily if they hit someone with a melee weapon. It doesn't even have to be that turn or that attack. If they hit them with a melee weapon once, then they kill their spell resistance for the rest of the encounter, which is pretty nice. They get. That's really all they get, to be honest. So they don't get a whole lot, but they get up to 5th level spells. They have an interesting spell list, which has a lot of touch spells, which is basically what they use for channeling. They got a lot of ranged spells like rays and cones and stuff. So nothing like super great. I mean, they have chain lightning, but they don't. I didn't see fireball anywhere on there. You know, they don't get things that do massive area damage like fireball and stuff. Chain lightning is a little more limited in what it can hit. So in order to use these spells, you really are going to have to be up close and personal. These guys aren't the kind of guys that hide in the back like a typical caster. They're not a typical melee combatant either, because I mean they got all these spells and they're doing all this extra damage. So they do stay a little ways in the back. I'd say they're a mid to close range fighter. You know, they don't stay way in the back, but they're usually not right up there in the front. They probably going to have another guy in front of them. Maybe jump in with him from time to time and then jump back. That'd probably be the way to play him. If you have another melee fighter in the group, you know, switch in and out of whether you're fighting with him. Now, one thing that the book mentioned, which is actually a really good idea if you're going to play something like this, is, well, if the guy's weak to magic, hit him with your sword. If the guy's if the guy's resistant to magic, then hit him with your sword. If the guy's resistant to your sword, hit them with magic. You got both options, uh, which is pretty nice. Because one thing with these guys that really makes them not as good as you would think is the fact that they still only can do so much in a turn. They have a lot of different options on what they can do, but they still only have the same turn length as everyone else. So that's going to limit them a lot. I mean, like it says, they're almost as good as a fighter and they're almost as good as a mage, but they're not as good as a fighter and a mage. I mean, it's just one of them. That's going to really hold them back. I mean, obviously. Um, what else is there with them? Well, the book recommends Twilight armor, which is in the book of Exalted Deeds and also in Magic Item Compendium. But really, I just don't see the use in that. I mean, they can already ignore it completely from everything other than heavy armor, and Twilight only reduces it a little. So I just don't see the point in that. Yeah, maybe if you do Mithril, but then you're already dropping it to medium. So I don't see the point in that at all. Now, a much better option from what I can tell is either just go with Mithril armor, or you go with, take the feat so you can use heavy armor. That's just how I see it. Yeah. So I would definitely disagree with that. That's really all there is. They get a ton of spells per day, like a sorcerer, and they don't have to repair their spells per day like a sorcerer. But they get them. They get a lot more spells known than a sorcerer would, sort of like a wizard almost. They get one new spell every time they level up. They can't cast them into the book like the wizard can, but they still get one more, which the wizard gets two. These guys only get one, so that's a little bit different. But that is a lot more than a sorcerer would get. So they do have a better spells known list than the wizard does. In addition, well, not the wizard, than the sorcerer does. In addition, like I said, they cast spontaneously. They also use their intelligence, not their charisma. So really, in terms of their spellcasting, they're a weird mix between a wizard and a sorcerer. Hard to say exactly. It's hard to say which one it draws from more. Cause like I say, it's an odd mix between which one they do it like. But yeah, and at the same time, they're also got that the whole fighting thing going. Just a great class all in all. Um, like I said, I played alongside one and they kicked some ass. So definitely want to consider playing that. Um, in terms of race, pretty much just elves that do it. Alignment. Um, you can be anything, but they do have some tendencies, I think, towards chaos, like the elves. Kind of the same tendencies as elves do. But yeah, really, really kind of a basic one. Definitely want a high intelligence, strength, dex, con. Wisdom and charisma you'll probably want to put as your low staff, simply because they don't really affect you much. Um, Intelligence should be one of your either your first or your second highest for sure. Um, then your first could be strength, dex, or con, depending on how you want to play it. Probably not dex though. Probably strength. Either that or put that as your second and have intelligence. Really depending on which way you want to focus. You definitely want strength and int up there. Con and dex should be fairly high too. More so con. Dex isn't going to help you as much with all that armor. But definitely want a high con. Maybe some decent wisdom, because you might want to grab some of those fighter feats. You know, just because you can. Um, but yeah, all in all, great class. Highly recommend it. Anyways, let me know what you think about the Duskblade. Leave that in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Let me know what you think of the video too. Leave that in the comments as well. Always glad to hear from all you guys. Like my video, because I'm not going to know if you like it if you don't like it. So yeah, and subscribe to my channel, because I have a ton more videos and I got a lot more on the way. So subscribe and check out my stuff. Anyways, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you.